is the value of LinkedIn? There's so many ways you can use LinkedIn to find a job. The way Skal is built and the nature of who we are is perfectly suited for what LinkedIn does. I love that question. So a tech whisperer is my name of my title for what I do for one of my clients. However, I got it from an attendee at an event. She kept coming to me as I was giving her advice, and she called me her tech whisperer, which means that I whisper in her ear all the things she needs to know around technology, practical things, and then she's empowered to be able to go out into the world and do her thing. So that's why tech whisperer. What is the value of LinkedIn? It's skyrocketed. I can't touch the resources that I needed to business-wise like I did before. I can't fly to a meeting and conduct that business. So LinkedIn is very important. It is the number one and only source within social media and a digital platform that we're able to communicate with people. You can find jobs. You can find people to do the jobs that you want to do within it. You can just converse. You can network within it. So it's very, very valuable. And you can create your digital persona within it. Those people who do not have websites on their own and don't have a need for websites, this is your persona to be able to communicate from a business perspective. That means have business language in that digital environment. So that is one of the importance of LinkedIn. So many different ways you can use tech to empower the membership. First of all, I think we should take steps to educate, just baseline education. Keep talking about practical education around technology. And that to me means, how do I use my everyday devices? How do I use my cell phone with all of the apps that are on it? Coupled with how that integrates that information to my laptop and my desktop. So as a chapter, we should think of one or two things we can do to help our members understand, and then utilize those within the chapter as resources to help everyone out, because this is not changing, as I call it, post-COVID. It is not going to change. It has only given us the opportunity to continue to use technology as a tool to help streamline our processes. And there's fear involved. I know that across the board. So we have to rely on each other to help each other demystify some of their fears. So the roles that each chapter, I think each and every chapter around the world should think about, hey, I have a president, I have vice presidents, I have secretaries and treasurers and communications and or PR people. Well, you need what I'm going to call a mini event tech person or a mini tech person within each chapter who can help give advice on better ways that the chapter can use technology overall. So say, for instance, recently, we've been having to do Zoom calls for meetings, right? Well, did you ever think about the fact that that role could have been left with that person to set the meeting up, to make sure that people are engaging well in the meeting, helping run the chat box for the meeting, or even just saying, hey, you know what? You don't know how to get on to Zoom. Let me stop and help you get on to Zoom. Or is Zoom the best platform for us to use as a chapter? So that person can kind of take the burden off the president for having to do those types of technology interactions, right? And then also around the communications person who's focusing on communication, right? Or any other roles that may be going on. So that person literally can just make recommendations and also be the person who can say, hey, you know what? I understand what goes on a website. This is what our website is doing, what it can be doing, all of the communications around the tech aspect of what the chapter should be doing, country as well as globally. I think that the very first stop within LinkedIn, whether you have what I call respect the pause, step back and take a look at why I am even in the platform, decide your goal. And then once you decide your goal, then you want to say, what is your persona? So you want to build their persona in the platform. That's who you see here should be who you see there. So that first stop is your profile page. And you want to take a look at where, if you already have a profile page, review it, see what you haven't updated, and do that. If you don't have one, then you need to begin to build one. And then pick some people who you know, either in and outside the industry. Go to their pages, take a look at what they've done and how they've done it. LinkedIn steps you through the process really great, and then begin to build it. And you don't have to be married to it. You can change it at any time. So first stop to me is the profile page, but decide who you want to be once you go in. So if you're wanting to connect with people best, I say start with you, especially if you're not comfortable with a platform. You need to decide, well, who are they? Find them. And then if you click the connection button, put a little information in there, give them context. So when they receive the request, they know where they met you and how they met you. Same thing and mindset you need to have as how you conducted business face to face. You wouldn't walk down the street in a business setting or walk in a conference in a business setting and just say, hi, my name is Tess, just out of the blue and stop them. No, you give them a little context of who you are, what you're about, and then move to the next level of saying, may I have your contact information? So approach it the same way. There's so many ways you can use LinkedIn to find a job. Number one, at the top bar of LinkedIn, there's an entire job section there that you can look for opportunities. The biggest thing that you want to do is you want to start with your profile, because if you haven't built your profile up to where it's presentable, same sort of situation where you get up, you get dressed, you go out the house, and you're presenting to the world the persona you want them to have, that profile is an opportunity for you to be able to do that there. Then you want to begin to utilize that tab as a resource to pull information from, meaning the keywords that are in the job descriptions, to put in your profile. And then you can create lists in there of people who are hiring, and also do research on who you may know in your network or your other connections network who work at those companies. And then you begin your journey around that. So it's, again, similar to in face-to-face. If I know someone who has an opening, I might say, well, who do I know at that company? Let me find out, call them and ask them, would you mind recommending me? Or what do you really think about this? Or do you think I have the right qualifications? Or what should I put in my resume? Well, what should I put in my profile to be ready for that? So that similar behavior are the same ways that you could go about searching and looking for opportunities with LinkedIn. And then also within groups, asking people, being active, so people look at you as a viable candidate other than you're just a stoic feature within the platform. So begin to animate and bring your persona out to life within your profile and as you're going through engaging in the platform. And the answer is, if you are retired, you have to have a LinkedIn profile. If you're not considering yourself a thought leader, then why were you in business all this time? Why did you, do the things that you did, right? You can contribute and you can give. So giving is a huge part of what you should be doing in these social platforms. Again, you can do them as little as you want or as much as you want, but it's very important that you would be able to play in that space differently than you would if you're working. Very important. So, data is king. Data is king. We prove that data is king by looking at the fact that Microsoft bought LinkedIn a number of years ago. Microsoft bought a data company years ago, which is really truly what it is. So when you're talking about search engine optimization, when you think about what comes to the top of the Google search, if you will, those are based on keywords. So what are those keywords that are in your profile that match to what someone is searching within the LinkedIn platform? So you really need to have Skal in there. You need to show that you're a member of Skal. You want to show maybe some of the volunteer work that you've done with Skal. Skal. So that when someone searches for it and tags Skal, you can be a part of that dialogue and conversation. So yes, we also want to represent Skal well. We want to know that people want to know that there are other colleagues in their area that are reachable and touchable. Same. So as I was talking to someone the other day, I think Skal is the way Skal is built and the nature of who we are is perfectly suited for what LinkedIn does. Well, I got to go back to my pure tech perspective, which is everything depends on what you're doing and your goal. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram are two totally different platforms. The only commonality of them is that they're social media platforms, right? So LinkedIn is for business. Facebook is for friends, where you have friendly conversations, if you will, versus LinkedIn, you'll have business conversations overall, if you will, and it's built that way. And then Instagram is more of a blog, a video blog, if you will, where you can have a stream of consciousness and connect with people with a image forward face. So it's totally different. It all depends on the content that you're developing and where your audience can live and how you're going to speak to your audience when you're in those various different platforms. So I wouldn't choose one. I choose based on the goal and the content that you're trying to deliver. You can use LinkedIn to promote your personal experiences, meaning your personal brand, all the things that you're doing personally and professionally. So remember, this is a personal profile page within LinkedIn that you can talk about anything business-wise. Then separate from that is the company page. And the company page should have its own persona, its own voice, and talk about what it is doing as a company. So two different things. So if you own your own business, for instance, then you are the persona of the company. So you need to talk about my business and how I lead my company. Then therefore on that page, the company will be talking about how fabulous you are as a leader for the company, or how you own the company and how you're great as an entrepreneur from that voice. So two different voices, two different perspectives, and how you want to approach it. So yes, and both opportunities and in both instances, you have the opportunity to do posts. So the company page can do posts as well as you can do posts and communicate out. Also, one little caveat for that, since we are in the tourism and events business and industry overall, you can create events with inside of LinkedIn as well. So the chapter events, all kinds of different things you can do. Chapter, country, as well as global events. You can create and invite those people in to see the content that you're creating.